Hi everyone, thanks for joining me again on another photo walk. Today I'm at Great Falls National Park here in Virginia side. I was the first one here, I can hardly believe it. Ooh, there's some turkey vultures there on top of the trash cans. Scavenging, I guess. Let me see if I can get a shot. There's one up in this tree too. He probably feels pretty safe, so maybe he won't fly off. I might have to dial in just a little bit more exposure comp. So there, I'm gonna dial in +1. I'm gonna get a shot of the rocks here. Since there's no light on the water, I'm not gonna get a shot of that. Well, yeah, let's get a shot here and a shot up here. How about a vertical? Can we get more in? Yeah, that's not bad. Let's try that. When you're the only one here, it's easy to forget your mask, so I need to go back to the car and get it, just in case. That should give enough time for the sun to kind of hit some of the water too, so I get some better speculars. Alright, so I think I'll do f4, just so I get a little extra depth of field and sharpness out of the lens. And compositionally, I kind of like the two little waterfalls coming down here. But the light, it's a little bit shadowy on the right side of that waterfall. And then over here, the light is pretty good across the frame. Still a little dark on the right side, but what I'll do is I'll concentrate right here. I think this will be the shot. All right, I got my 10-stop ND filter. I just cleaned it off a little with the microfiber. All right, what I've done is I'm in ISO low, and I'm gonna change my shutter to a 2-second delay, silent mode. And then all these other settings, they're really irrelevant because I'll be processing a raw image. These settings here, like Vivid and all this, will be for JPEGs. Same thing with my highlights and shadows, but that's fine. And let's take a shot there. Now, another thing you can do in case you forgot your ND filter or don't have one, you can just shoot in high-res shot mode if you have that feature in your camera, and it'll take multiple shots and blend those together, but the effect is pretty close to using a slow shutter speed to smooth out the water. So let me show you that effect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into, hopefully this is not blurry. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into high-res shot mode, and I'm gonna make sure I set up a 2-second delay here. You can set it to whatever you want. Maybe I can do 4 seconds. So I want the tripod to be absolutely steady, and I got this skinny tripod with me today. And so we'll click OK. And then you want to set your shutter speed to high-res shot mode right there. And what do we got? 50 megapixels, 25, 50. Looks like that's the best I can do on this camera, is a 50 megapixel JPEG and a raw image, but we'll work with the raw image. All right, so I'm still at f8, ISO low. My shutter speed is 1/60th of a second. Let's do a shot here. And there'll be a 4-second delay. And that was pretty fast. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I'm gonna do a pano shot because I'd like to capture a wider field of the waterfalls. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on my little nodal slider here, and I'm just going to guesstimate the nodal point because I haven't actually figured it out for this lens yet. But if I just back it off a little usually what I found is if I back it off right to the line on the lens, that's usually pretty close. Where this line is going to be centered right over the center of the tripod. So let me set that up real quick. I'm at f8, so what I'm going to do for panning is I'm going to use my grid lines. It might be hard to see on the video, but I'm going to use my horizontal grid lines to make sure I'm level as I go across because I don't have a leveling base on my tripod. And then I'm going to use the vertical lines to overlap each image by 1/3. And I'm going to do a 3x3 pano, meaning I'm going to take 3 pictures across and then 3 pictures down. And that should give me a nice square image, give or take, and a lot of megapixels to work with. The other thing I should mention is I need to focus on one point and then lock the focus. I'm going to make this rock here the focus point. So let me make sure I got that. So I'm just going to autofocus, and then I'm going to set my lens to manual focus, and now my focus point is locked on that point. Okay, the next thing I need to do actually is I'm going to take one shot in aperture priority, look at what the settings are, then go into manual mode and use those same settings across all 9 images that I'm going to take. So let's take a look. So if I take a shot right here and I look at the settings, I can see I'm at 1/400th of a second, f8, ISO 200. So I'm just going to turn my camera to manual mode, and I'm going to set the same settings, 1/400th of a second, f8, and ISO 200. Make sure that's locked in. All right, we should be good. The other thing I need to mention is that when I come back to do the second row of images and the third row, I need to make sure my vertical lines overlap exactly where I was before. So I'm going to make a point that this line here, where it crosshairs, meets the same point on the rocks where the waterfall is. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hand in front of the first image, so it kind of marks where I started my pano, and then I'll put my hand again to get a dark frame to put, so I know where the pano ends. That way when I go back to stitch them together, it'll be easy to find the images. All right, let's go into the woods and see what other shots we can get. So if I haven't mentioned it, I'm out with my 75mm f1.8 and the EM5 Mark III. But yeah, I've been shooting with the 75mm all week, and I'm now just starting to get a feel for the focal length. It was really challenging at first, but now, you know, when I look around a scene like this, I can start to see the composition that I want without, you know, putting the camera up to my eye. We'll come up to these trees in a bit, but as I'm walking here, there's some potential compositions right in here. Like, I like how the light's hitting these vines right here. So I'm gonna try this shot. All right, I kind of like this evergreen baby tree in the frame together with this. So let me try something like this. I'm going to raise my aperture to f4 because the depth of field is just way too shallow at 1/8. All right, I kind of like, here I like how the roots are coming up out of the ground across the trail, leading into this fence line with all the little beams kind of sticking out back towards the trail. So let's see how this looks in the 75. Yeah, I like it right in here. I don't think I need that tree in the shot, but it does give a little context to where the roots are coming from. So maybe if I frame it something like this. Now there's good balance with that tree on the left and the tree on the right. How about a vertical? Get more of the roots in. No, it's just too narrow from this distance. So let's try this shot right here, and we'll have the row of beams coming into the trail. Okay, I think that works. Let me get a little lower. All right, so I've kind of moved over to the left of this same scene, and I noticed in the puddle here, there's like brown algae growing against some green grass and then the stones. I think that's that looks pretty nice. This is what I'm looking at here. So I think I'll get some really nice detail on the algae, and then everything else will just kind of frame it. This green grass is a nice complementary color to the brown algae. And again, the rocks are very neutral, which help frame the shot, I think. So I think this will be pretty cool. That puddle is kind of extended down here into this very, very small pond. And this pond, I don't really see a shot capturing the pond itself, but I like the reflection in the pond, and I think I can get a nice sort of oil painting look to the trees that are reflecting in the pond. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the trees that are up there, because that's what's reflecting down here in the pond. But I need to lock the exposure to the pond so that it's not too dark, because if I lock focus up here, it'll also lock exposure. So I'm going to use the AEL button to lock exposure down here. Then all I have to do is focus on the trees up there, then take a picture back down here, and then that should be properly exposed. So let's do that. Okay, I like this tree over here because it has a little stronger trunk or bigger trunk, and I like this. And then if I can get a little bit of this leaf in, blurred out to frame it, I think that'll look good. Right. Oops. Let me focus on that tree. Oh, I gotta lock the exposure. Focus on this tree. Come back down. It's always something, you know, I'm thinking back to the shot I did of the waterfalls. Instead of flipping over into manual mode, I could have just did AEL, you know, auto exposure lock, and did the pano shot. Anyway, there's more than one way to skin a potato. So let's move on. Wow. Okay, this is another kind of overlook. It's not a clear line to the water, but I like how this There's a little tree here growing out between the rocks. Which kind of reminds me, I need to do some weeding in my yard. But anyway, I think, get a little closer. I like how this little tree is almost touching the leaves off the other tree. I guess these are evergreens. It's kind of like one tree is reaching out to the other. And then just this little evergreen down here is almost like a bonsai coming out of the rock. So let's see how this looks in the viewfinder. Yeah, I like this little bonsai tree. And then this other tree, actually how the leaves are kind of reaching out to touch it. I think this would make a nice shot right in here. I'm gonna dial in a little bit more aperture. I need more depth of field. So I'm gonna do f4. Ooh, look at how these flowers are just growing right underneath this tree. And the lighting's not bad on it, actually. Let's see what we can do with that. All right, everyone, thanks for joining me today on another photo walk here in Great Falls National Park. Hopefully I got a few keepers, but if you like these kind of videos, just let me know, hit the like button, maybe consider subscribing to the channel, buy me a coffee, or leave your comments below. Let me know what you thought of the pictures, but either way, hopefully we'll see you again soon.